Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault. And you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people? The people is misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E. Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
What more do you need to see? Because he's the guy!
I object.
Good morning, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Happy Friday. Happy No Pants Friday. I would show you, but it's not one of those streams. We made it. This is what a well-rested recovery addict looks like. Oh my goodness. Feel good, feel great. Slept for, forever. So no excuse for falling asleep today. Good morning. Welcome to everybody, especially a big welcome to Leone H. First in chat today. As you know, I don't know if you've ever won before. A possible single prior conviction, but this would be a second if anything. Because you're first in chat, we're going to send it to you with internet ownership, and that means that everything internet-related worldwide is squarely on your shoulders. So, congratulations. Love to see the win. We're going to go ahead and add that to your permanent record. Thank you very much. Wow, it is Friday. It was Friday. The podcast last night was amazing. Thank you very much, Thomas, and everybody who was there. It was absolutely wonderful. We loved it. If you missed it, you have to go back and watch. It's a rule.
If they didn't, I would lose my mind.
Yes, you have to watch, and if you don't, I would just lose my mind. We're going to pick up and power through the whole trial that we started yesterday. That's the Jamon Johnson one. I learned that YouTube does not like this trial. Apparently, some of the crime scene images are enough to just go ahead and demonetize the channel. Not the channel, but just that stream. So that happened yesterday. Yay. That was fun. Do have an update on Corey Richins. Yes, she's got a hearing, I believe, August 8th. Was that? I saw the text. I did not respond. I apologize. I was reading things, but not. Yes, the 8th. Good news. I should. Well, man, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
How does he do that?
I should be there for the 8th. 3rd. I believe on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. I should be there for the 8th. I might be able to make that.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
So, that's need my wallet out of the pocket, or else I'll be sitting crooked for the whole day.
Shame
I
on
carry
you,
all
sir.
the old cards that I never use in there, like my Blockbuster video card. All right. What's the hearing? Is it just a status hearing for court for Corey Richins?
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Did I sleep? I slept so well last night. It was amazing. It was beautiful.
Send someone with more experience.
I found that if I lay on my side, no snoring happens. Well, at least not harmful snoring. So I slept on my side all night, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I got up maybe 30 minutes ago. It was wonderful. It was great. Kim, thank you very much. Oh, stink for the demonetization fund. Oh, thank you, Kim. It happens. It's just it's part of being in the true crime genre. Some things and I can understand. I can understand why a company wouldn't want to have an advertisement play in the middle of maybe this trial, or at least the autopsy photos or something from this trial. So, all right. My life seems to be about taxes, says Virginia Little. Went and fought property taxes on 3 different properties yesterday and doing sales tax today. You are never through paying the government. Yes, you think you own your properties until tax season rolls around, and then you realize that if you don't pay, the government takes it back from you. That is how it works, unfortunately. If we can think of a better plan and get enough people to agree, maybe we can get it changed. All right. Go do your sleep study. This is one of those things that I've got to do, and it's on my list, but my list is long. And there's lots on the list. I'll work on that. I'll see if I can move it up. Move it up on the list. All right, we have a few birthdays to celebrate today, which is wonderful because we have a lot of you here to sing, which is great because it sounds better when there are a lot of us singing. We're going to celebrate Lavender, Vince, Sean, Lucy P, and One Response, who are celebrating today. That means that you have a birthday today or over the weekend, which is great. We're going to go ahead and do that by singing the regular birthday song. First, if everyone could just stand up and warm up with me. Stretch first, roll back the shoulders. There you go. Get a good neck roll in. All right, both directions, just so we're even. Just notice that light's on and it shouldn't be. And let's do it like this. Everyone warm up. La 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 la. There we go. Deep breath. Shoulders back. Project your voice to the back of the room. Blend your voice with those of your neighbors as we celebrate these wonderful birthdays. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lavender, Vince, Sean, Lucy P, and One Response. Happy birthday to you. Lavender, Vince, Sean, Lucy P, and One Response. It's your special day. Happy Friday. Special birthday Fridays are the best, by the way, because you get to celebrate all weekend long. So to all those who are celebrating their birthday today, thank you very much for considering being here to celebrate. This is where we throw the party, right here. We actually we finally cut the cake we made for my son yesterday. He was gone. He was at work and a party and everything. And so we just sang to him again this morning, and then they're eating birthday cake as we speak. Yay, that's awesome. Thank you. There are a million places you could be, a million people you could be with, but you chose to be here with us. Thank you. That's not lost on us. Hopefully we can make today specialist of all of them. And to do that, first handing out presents is Cachette, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Cachette. Congratulations to the new recipients there. Minderella, welcome to the jury. You were without a courthouse for just a split second, and you figured it out. And you figured it out in style. Jury members get padded seats. As you now know, by taking a seat, you can enjoy the comfort of a jury seat. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for all your support. That means the world to me. We're going to fade the music out. The party does not stop, though. Let it continue. We are going to kick off. Let's see. What are we doing? I keep forgetting what to call this trial. I think we called it the mustard murder trial. And I think we're done with lunch is where we left everything. Oh, I said I was going to fade it out, and then I left it going. There we go. Actually, I think we're on the last verse. Yeah, let's do it. It's Friday. Let's go ahead and bring it all the way up to the drums. Ready? You got your air drums ready? There we go. All right. You can't let it not do the drums, says Nosy Rosie. We did the drums. I've been practicing air drums for a long time. I've never done it competitively, although I know that you can. You can have competitive air drumming. I just don't. Let's see. Yesterday, Weatherwatch was wearing a podcast shirt, so today I'm wearing Weatherwatch's shirt, which actually it looks different because it's green. You see the courthouse through it. I'm not sure if I can move to see where the courthouse is. Yeah, but it looks green in real life, so I have a special edition one, right, that has courthouse colors. If we put Weatherwatch's link up enough in chat, it will show you his page. Eventually it will show you his page where you can download your own merch. This has this amazing, awesome tornado logo, which looks great. So that would be cool if you got one of those, because everyone looks cool in a Weatherwatch shirt. That's why I wear it. Let's see. We are coming back from court. I think we are right. Let's give them just a moment to get seated. Here we go. Here and here and there and there. Reset the volume. I think we're good there. Okay. We made it. We made it. Of course, now everyone disappeared. I thought I had everyone in back from court yet. Okay, we're waiting for people to show up.
Bring the jury.
You can bring the judge is what we need right now. How about this? Now we just have a clerk. Clearly, I forgot to skip lunch. Okay, let's try here. Oh, a couple more people are back. That's nice. Go a little further. Where does the judge come in? Oh, there he goes. Judge is here. Boom. All right.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
When are we
All
going to
right.
break for lunch, Judge?
Thank you for getting some more then.
Ready, Ms. Smith?
Yes,
Let's go back on the record now where we've all returned from our lunch break. Mr. Johnson is present with his counsel, and the state is here as well. Is there anything we need to address or clean up for the record about this numbering of exhibits?
Yes, so I will just so we can clean up for the record. There was a bag inside of another bag, but and that was
Cell phones turned off during the trial. No cell phones out.
that was exhibit number 118. So I just made sure that they were consolidated, Your Honor, and in case they get separated, they both have 118 on there.
Okay, so there are two things labeled 118 potentially?
Yes, but they're all in one bag, but just in case they get separated, so.
All right, any other duplicates or anything else we need to address?
There's no duplicates right now, but there is one thing that we need to.
All right, what do you have?
Your Honor, so next, we're gonna put up Detective or Sergeant Savannah Berry. She did an interview of the defendant. A Jackson demo, I believe, was done for Mr. Ingram, but not for Mr. Johnson. I have discussed this with Mr. Brown as far as the voluntariness of the statement, also whether it was whether any coercion or whether he believes that a Jackson demo would be necessary for Your Honor to hear. According to Mr. Brown, I'll let him speak on this, that would not be necessary. I think if we put on the record that he believes that it was voluntary, that Miranda was given properly, we can.
All right, so issue of a statement made to S. Berry. Mr. Brown, any thoughts, positions?
It's exactly as Ms. Russell stated. I saw the video. There's no indication that my client's statements was given, was not voluntary and given knowingly. And yes, he was clearly Mirandized. So I think we could just
defense agreed with the
state that on the record.
All right. So in terms of issues, any issues as to voluntariness or Miranda are not contested as it relates to this hearing. The state anticipates referencing that you've had the opportunity to review.
I have, Your Honor. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any other issues, Ms. Russell?
That's all, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brown, many issues on your end before we call the jury back?
No, Your Honor.
Just to give us a preview of the next hour or two, Ms. Russell, who have we got on deck?
Your Honor, we have obviously Savannah Berry, and then we have the medical examiner.
All right. Are there any witnesses, at the rate we're going, that you've told that are can't be here today and we're only going to be here tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor. There are investigator Smallwood could not be here today, and Mark Tanner he's now with the ATF. He's our ballistics person. He flies in at 4:00 this evening. And then also Darlene Scott, she has transport today for a fugitive. So I asked that they come tomorrow. And hopefully, Your Honor, that's okay with you.
When you say Darlene Scott, Okay, what a transfer for a fugitive? Walk me through that.
She's on the fugitive task squad. I think she's over that particular unit. So she is transporting a fugitive right now. So she couldn't be here today, but she is going to be here at 9:00 tomorrow morning.
All right. And then Smallwood, what was the conflict there?
He was on vacation, Your Honor.
Okay. He'll be back tomorrow though?
He will be back. Yes, bright and early, 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Any issues, concerns on your end, Mr. Brown?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. If we could go ahead and bring in Miss Berry, and as she's coming in, we can bring in the jury as well if they're all ready, whenever they're ready.
I'm going to change the speed since we're on catch up. We are finishing this trial today, so we're going to go up to 1.25 speed for the duration of the trial. There we go. All right, quick recap. This was a murder that happened in a convenience store. 3 younger guys, which appeared to be friends on camera earlier, shaking hands, hanging out together, maybe even riding in the same car together, show up at the store. They buy a honey bun, whatever, leave, and come back. And later, one of the guys comes back, asks where the mustard is, goes and picks up a packet of mustard, buys it, steps out of the store, and the other two what we thought were his friends from the video, have come back on foot and are hiding, waiting for him to come out. He comes out, and they both open fire. He got shot 12 times out of 13 rounds that were fired. Died right there on the scene. The other 2 ran off. And this trial is for one of those 2 defendants. So we called it the mustard murder because the kid went in to get mustard and came out and was murdered. Allison Garofolo. Allison, welcome. I think I butchered your name, but I made it. I give you good effort. Welcome to the gallery. Good to have you here as a brand new member. Make sure you take your seat by typing !seat. That is
Thank you, Deputy Scott. Thank you, members of the jury, for being back, ready to go. Does anyone have any issues they need to raise with us before we resume? Seeing none, state may call us next witness.
All right, state calls investigator Sergeant Savannah Berry.
Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you should give in court is the truth and nothing but the truth to help you?
Yes, sir.
Please state your first and last name for court.
Savannah Berry, SAVANNAHBERRY.
All right, Sergeant Berry, excuse me. How are you currently employed?
I'm currently a sergeant with the City of Atlanta Police Department assigned to East Atlanta Zone 6.
And where were you employed, or how were you employed back in November of 2020?
I was an investigator for the homicide unit with APD.
Okay. And can you just explain what some of your duties were while you were an investigator with the homicide unit?
We, of course, would investigate open homicide cases, missing person cases, as well as kidnappings, all within the City of Atlanta.
Okay. And how long were you an investigator?
I was an investigator a little over 5 years.
Okay. Were you always with the homicide unit?
With the exception of about a year as an investigator. A little over 4 years, I was in the homicide unit.
Okay. And then where were you before then?
I was with the General Investigations Unit, and then prior to that, I was a police officer in Zone 6, East Atlanta.
Are you post-certified?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is post-certified?
For the state of Georgia, I am a peace officer, certified officer to carry out law and enforce laws in the state of Georgia.
Okay. And back on November 25th, 2020, you were post-certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you just explain to the jury a little bit about how homicide duties work, or how you become the lead investigator on a homicide?
So it works as a rotation. Literally, our names are up on the board. If your name is at the top of the list, the next homicide that happens in the City of Atlanta, you are to respond immediately from wherever we are at the time. We'll get a phone call to this location, get a little preliminary information, and then we'll respond directly to scene. So, of course, after you catch that case, you go to the bottom of that list, and it works that way into a rotation.
And is that how it worked on November 25th, 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
So in Atlanta,
so I want to direct your attention to that time period. Well, let me ask you this. What is some of the background and training that you have to go through in order to become a homicide detective?
Well, specifically to become a detective, you have to be a sworn officer for at least 3 years before you can be tested to be a detective. And then at that time, you would more than likely go to, of course, a less intense assignment as opposed to homicide. In my case, I was a general investigator's investigator, and I did well there with my work effort that I did there. I was transferred over to the homicide unit.
Okay. So directing your attention back to November 25th, 2020, were you assigned as lead detective involving a shooting death of Jerry Carr?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where did that shooting occur?
It was at 1955 Moreland Avenue.
And what county is that located in?
It's in Fulton County, Zone 3.
All right. Did you ultimately respond to that location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what did you observe when you arrived?
There on scene, the decedent was actually still there on scene. Sometimes that's not always the case where the decedent will be transferred to the hospital. This decedent was still there on scene. There was evidence that we collected, such as surveillance footage. The decedent had his vehicle there and his car keys on his person. And of course, there was some ballistics that was collected on the crime scene as well.
And regarding that surveillance video, when and where did you first see that surveillance video?
I saw it there on scene. There was the clerk there on scene who was able to operate the cameras, and he was able to show myself the actual footage there on scene.
And did you ultimately get a copy of that surveillance video?
That same night, yes, ma'am.
So once you reviewed that surveillance video, did anything pique your interest about the surveillance video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, tell the jury.
So I'm just going to describe the video. So when the victim walked in, he was driving his BMW. He walked in. This is actually the day before Thanksgiving. He was only there just to purchase one thing for his meal the next day. So when he walked in, I could see him looking outside of the convenience store numerous times, like more than what would seem to be reasonable. And as soon as he came out, he was gunned down. Now you was able to see another angle where there's a street in the back of the convenience store. You see a car kind of creep, but then you also see two people walking. And this is at a great distance. But eventually those same two people, you see them come back in clear angle view. And the two of them wait on the corner of the exterior of the convenience store, just waiting for the victim to come. So what piqued my interest with that is I felt like these two shooters knew that the victim was going to be there. This was not necessarily what we call a crime of opportunity. They waited for him. And literally, as soon as he came out of the store, he was gunned down. And then after two shooters finished shooting, they went right back to where I could see them walking from that back street. So the interest that told me was, I feel like if I was to see where he was coming from, it would be the best hint for me to see what was going on, because clearly it was clear to me that the two shooters knew that he was gonna be there.
So I'm going to hand you what's been marked as States Exhibit 72 and 73. Do you recognize States Exhibit 72 and 73?
Yes, these are the two shooters from the surveillance footage I was just describing.
Okay. And you said that came directly from the surveillance footage?
Both of these, yes, ma'am.
Is it a fair and accurate copy, or I guess a screenshot of the surveillance footage?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Tender States Exhibit 72 and 73 into evidence.
No objection.
Admitted without objection.
I'm showing you what's been marked as States Exhibit 77. Do you recognize States Exhibit 77?
Yeah, this is the crime scene sketch of the actual scene.
And do you have people helping you on scene when you go to a homicide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you just, who do you have helping you?
So when we respond, the lead detectives respond from wherever they're coming from when they get that call. But of course, there's always investigators working their shift in the office. Those investigators are expected to respond to all scenes to assist the lead detective. So in this case, this is Detective Barnett, who assisted me with this crime scene sketch, who I assigned to do the sketch for me.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate copy of 1950, or fair and accurate copy of the crime scene sketch that depicts 1955 Moreland Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
State Tender Exhibit 77 into evidence.
Admitted.
Okay. If we could just show. When you were looking at the video, or the surveillance video, if we could show. Was there anything unique that stood out to you about those two shooters?
The clothing, I would say, are very unique clothing, specifically from exhibit. Well, let's just start with 73.
We're going to put it up.
The witness calls for exhibit number. That's funny.
Okay. So with this shot right here, the clothes are very distinctive in my opinion of it. We have these very distinctive shoes. The actual hoodie is something that I haven't commonly seen with the patches, and specifically, this is in 2020, truly at the height of coronavirus. There's hand sanitizer that you see from his keychain that's right there on his belt loop. So this is a very distinctive description of a particular subject in this case.
Okay. All right. You can put it down. Thank you. And so once you saw this surveillance video, and I'm sorry, we didn't talk about States Exhibit 77. If we could put States Exhibit 77 up, please. Is it 77?
It's 72 is the second.
Oh, I'm sorry. 72 is the other. Okay. And State's Exhibit 72.
Okay, so this as well as 73. I felt like I was able to compare what we see here to another frame of another store just minutes prior to the actual shooting.
Okay.
So I was going to explain the uniqueness of that after we can see.
Okay, we'll come back to that. If we can put up State's Exhibit 77. Okay. All right. This is the crime scene sketch that you just described that another detective is signed to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you just explain to the jury this layout?
Can I stand up and?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as she can hear you.
So this is the main road, Moreland Avenue. This will be where the front door of the convenience store is. There's a street back here of which I was able to see the cars coming down on Issa, and both ways. The victim came in this way, and it was an Acura that the two shooters that I found was parked back here. So they cut through on foot. The two shooters cut through this way, and this little body-looking figure is actually where the decedent was laying upon my arrival on the scene. So when he came out the front door, the decedent, the two were standing here waiting and gunned down the victim, and then they fled this way on scene, going back into their vehicle. All the shell casings are where you see these numbers. This was where the victim's vehicle was parked. 21, 20 victims right on. Okay. And this just shows that up is north. That's our scale here.
Okay. All right. You mentioned that there was another store that let me say this. You mentioned that you wanted to see where Mr. Carr had come from.
I did.
Okay. And why, again, was that important to you?
Because, again, the interest of it just didn't seem like it was an opportunity type of crime. This seemed to have been, even if it was a short plan, but plan indeed. That's what this appeared to me. So when I saw the victim's driver's license, I see that he didn't live far. So I assumed maybe he was coming from home. So I actually had investigators in crime scene continue to do the investigation on the crime scene, went home, which is where I saw his mother, just to ask, did he just leave here? And she advised me that he did not. He did not just leave there. So I did tell her what the situation was before I left. And then maybe when I made it back to the scene, it was about 40 minutes later, the victim's brother came on scene, and he arrived on scene with his girlfriend. His girlfriend was very shocked at this being the convenience store that the victim went to, because she was just so adamant that this is not the store that she goes to. I asked her, well, this location is not at all far from his address, and she advised there's another store that's closer that he goes to all the time.
Okay. And so what was that store that he goes to all the time?
The address is 878 Norwood, which is where I was able to see where all these parties, the victim and two shooters, were just prior to arriving at 1955 Moreland this particular night.
How far is 878 Norwood from 1955 Moreland?
It's maybe a mile.
Okay. And how long in distance, if you know, would it take to drive from one location to the next?
Less than 4 minutes.
Okay.
It's all residential. We're not going on Moreland. It's just in the back neighborhood of Moreland Avenue, of 1955 Moreland.
Okay.
So why was he at that store? Did the other one not have mustard?
All right. Okay. So once you were able to track down that this victim, Mr. Carr, came from 878 Norwood, well, let's just ask this, how were you able to do that?
So when I went to that location, and this is the day after the actual shooting, I went to that location and I asked the clerk to show me the surveillance footage just prior to 10 o'clock, which is about the time where this incident occurred. And sure enough, looking at the footage, I was able to see the decedent in the same clothing that he had on when he was gunned down at 1955 Moreland, as well as these two people with these exact same clothes on. I see them talking to the victim. They were speaking for a number of minutes, to the point that the convenience store, it closed on the victim. So he went back into his car to go to the next convenience store, and the two assailants just followed him in the Acura that I saw in the surveillance footage.
Now, let me ask you this. You said they followed him. Were you able to see any cars follow?
No, I'm not able to see a car go, anything like that, no. But, as soon as the victim left, it was seconds later that the Acura just went in the same direction from Norwood.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 74, 75, and 80.
Okay.
I want to start with 80 first, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Do you recognize State's Exhibit 80?
Yes, it's from the surveillance from 878 Norwood, the surveillance footage.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The surveillance footage.
What did you, is that a fair and accurate screenshot of the surveillance footage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. State tenders State's Exhibit 80 into evidence.
No objection.
Admitted.
Okay. If we could show State's Exhibit, can we publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Okay. And what did you, who are these What are these three people?
So these are the two shooters from Exhibit 73 and 74. These two right here. And this is my victim, Mr. Carr.
Okay. How did you, I guess maybe a silly question, but how did you know that those were your two shooters from?
It's just so distinctive from the very first surveillance footage I saw, which is 72 and 73. Now, the only difference with 72 is this gentleman. He has an additional jacket with a hood that's completely covering his face. Everything else, the white t-shirt, this white t-shirt, you can still see the black jacket and the black jeans and the exact same shoes that you can see. It was just so distinctive. And it's not just one, it's both of them. There's two distinctive people with distinctive clothing on from one location to the next, just minutes in between each other.
Okay. I want to go to State's Exhibit 74, 75. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 74 and 75?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you recognize State's?
I actually created these in the comparisons of their wardrobe from the first location to the second.
Okay. And are they a fair and accurate copy of those creations that you made?
Yes, ma'am.
State tender State's Exhibit 74 and 75.
No objection.
74 and 75 are admitted.
Okay. I have a demonstrative. I'm sure this. Yeah. Yes. You want me to publish my demonstrative?
And this is intended as exhibit or just a demonstrative in general?
Just a demonstrative in general.
Just for the purposes of the record, let's refer to this as a number.
Demonstrative of, we can do 74A.
74A. All right. Any objection to the publishing of 74A?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right.
All right. And Detective, or Sergeant, excuse me, if you don't mind stepping down.
And Ms. Russell, just for purposes of housekeeping in the record, if at some point you could reduce that to a paper size copy that we can have put in the record. All right.
John Link, congratulations on 15 months. Booyah! Trying to fix the seats. Apparently they broke again. They broke yesterday too. Ricky C just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Ricky. Reverend Beasy, you got hit.
All right. Okay. So if we could first we'll start with Jacob Ingram and then we'll go down here on Jonathan. Could you describe some of the things that you saw that were made you believe that this was the same person?
Yeah, so this is, as laid out as it shows, I just want to walk it through. So same thing with the hand sanitizer. It was very big in 2020 because of COVID. That's what we see here. That's a close-up of the hand sanitizers, including the shoes.
Now, can I ask you, where is this location?
This is at 878 Norwood. This is not the location of the actual shootings. Okay, and this is the same thing. This is actually I'm comparing these to over here at the actual shooting location, 1955 Norwood. Let me see. I'm not able to kind of interest so everyone see. So again, same shoes that we see that's at Norwood here on Moreland. Hand sanitizers as well. Shoes, and you can see the back of the shoes on both. Again, this is on Norwood and then compared to Moreland. White t-shirt underneath, a black jacket, white t-shirt underneath a black jacket. The only thing additional here on Moreland from Mr. Ingram is this additional jacket that he was able to get.
And let me ask you a question about that. That original jacket that Mr. Ingram had on, I apologize, Mr. Ingram had on at Norwood, did that have a hood on it?
No, there's no hood.
So in order to disguise oneself,
when you want to go shoot someone, you're just going to they want to put something over their head so they can't be identified.
Okay. And
Thank you, Josh. 5 gifted memberships.
This is just a jacket over.
It's Ricky's before that.
Yeah, that jacket does also have hood though. But yes, it's an additional piece of clothing.
All right. So we can talk about Jamon Johnson.
Okay. So it's at the same, this is at Norwood and this is the shooting incident in 1955 Moreland. Okay, so very distinctive hoodie we have here. This has a patch right here on the arm. You can see right here on the scene of the shooting. The same with the patch on the chest, right here on the shooting, the black pockets.
I hope the jury can see better than us.
The distinctive shoes. This is the close-up of the shoe. This is clearly the same shoe that's here at 1955 Moreland. And then on the back of the hoodie, it's split with 2 colors, gray on one side, well, dark gray on one side, light gray on the other, which is what we see from the shooter who's running away, again, at 1955 Moreland. Black jeans. It's just a comparison of the clothing that they have, just maybe 10, 15 minutes of each other.
Good. Thank you. Right here, I might need it. Sorry. Okay, so you go to 878 Norwood, you view who you believe to be the shooters at 878 Norwood, also at 1955 Moreland. What do you do next? How do you identify them by name?
So there was a shooting that happened there at 787 Norwood. It happened literally 30 days before this particular shooting. So I was able to see from that report the identification of both of the shooters. So one was identified as Mr. Ingram, the Jacob Ingram, the gentleman that was at the top of the diagram I just showed. And he was actually a victim in that particular case where he was shot at 878 Norwood. And a surviving victim who was not injured was Mr. Johnson. And it was from that report and pulling their identifications due to that report, I was able to actually ID each of them.
There was on State's Exhibit, I think you may have mentioned it, there was on State's Exhibit.
I'm not sure why the commands are not working properly. I'm going through the settings.
Thank you. Were you able to identify a vehicle that this defendant had gotten into or was driving?
It was a gray Acura, and I was only able to identify it because of the case that happened on Norwood a month prior.
Okay, all right. And that gray Acura, is that what you see in State's Exhibit 80?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So once you were able to identify these two individuals and again, and I know you said that you saw the police report, but how did you realize that these people on October 20th were the same people on November 25th?
So it was two different ways I was really able to identify. One, again, I was able to look at their driver's license, which of course have a picture and I could see them. But in the when they were victims a month prior, I'm looking at the body camera footage. So I'm actually able to see their whole engagement and what they're wearing and how they look just by looking at the body camera from the incident that happened a month prior. So me seeing that and looking at all these footage, I can identify, oh, that's them.
And let me jump back to your scene, 1955 Moreland. Those shell casings, were those collected?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened with those? How did you direct them?
The crime scene tech will come out, and then they collected each of those shell casings, and they take it to this testing site that's called NIBIN. NIBIN, it shows us what the shell casings, if there's shell casing at this location, and then shell cases at another location, NIBIN can let us know if both of those shell cases came from the same gun. So, did you want me to explain that?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the incident that occurred a month prior to my shooting at 1955, the shell casings matched, which was confirmed by our NIBIN tech.
Okay. All right. Once you were able to identify Mr. Ingram and Mr. Jamon Johnson as the people who had shot Mr. Carr, what did you then do?
I took out arrest warrants for each of them as well as search warrants for their home because, of course, there's still more evidence to collect, such as ballistics, guns.
And can you, were you able to search the home of Mr. Ingram?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you know what was found there of any significance?
Yes, I was there when they arrested him and executed that search warrant. On the crime scene, there was also a magazine, which is the clip in the gun that holds the bullets inside of a gun. That was actually still left there on scene. When we picked up Mr. Ingram from the search warrant and the arrest warrant, he had the actual weapon with the missing magazine in a book bag, which was very pertinent evidence for this particular case.
Showing you what's already been tendered as State's Exhibit 118. Okay, and State's Exhibit 81. Do you recognize the State's Exhibit 118?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that State's Exhibit 118, that magazine, is that what you're saying matched the State's Exhibit 81?
81, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. How many projectiles does State's Exhibit 118 hold?
Altogether? Like how much it can hold?
How much can it hold, yeah.
16.
Okay, all right. All right. At some point in time, were you aware of...
Welcome, Fur Baby's mom. Good to have you here. I think, Josh,
Actually,
I think
at some point in time, did were you able to? I know you said that Mr. Ingram was taken into custody. Was Mr. Johnson taken in custody?
Yes, it was just a few days after Mr. Ingram. Mr. Johnson went into custody on December 16th, 2020.
Okay.
Mr. Ingram was December 2nd.
Okay. And did you do you know anything about the arrest? Were you there at the arrest of Mr. Johnson?
No, I was not. But I was there for questioning, but I wasn't there when the arrest was being made.
Okay. So you were able to interview Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where did this interview take place?
At headquarters 226 Peachtree Street.
And was this interview recorded?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And during that interview, did you give any type of Miranda warnings?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And just briefly, what are Miranda warnings?
We notified him of his rights that he can talk to me with or without an attorney. If at any point that he wants to speak with me without an attorney and he wants to stop speaking at any point, he will be free to do that. But he was made aware that he was placed in custody and it was for murder.
At that time, after you gave him his Miranda warnings, did he agree to speak to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 76.
Okay.
You recognize State's Exhibit 76?
Yes, it's my interview with Mr. Johnson.
Okay. All right. And have you seen State's Exhibit 76 before?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is that a fair and accurate copy of State's Exhibit, of your interview with Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, State tenders State's Exhibit 76 into evidence.
No objection.
Amen.
Okay.
I think the worldwide internet issues that are going on are contributing to the problem with our seat command. The server for Lumia Stream is responding very, very slowly. So I think they're getting hit by this as well. So my apologies that the commands are not working properly. Occasionally one will get through, but it's just backlogged. And it just locks up.
One.
Okay, fingers crossed for good audio here.
You doing all right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm Detective Barry. Now, you was picked up our fugitive unit. They said that you wanted to talk. Is that correct?
I'm trying to see what's going on.
Okay, I understand that, and it is going to take a conversation for you to get all of that information, but I do have to read your rights, okay? Just want to make sure that you understand this before I go out and print all this stuff and have this conversation with you, okay? So let me just read this, you can respond accordingly, and we'll just go from there, all right? What's your first name? Jamon Johnson, yeah? All right. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used in court as evidence against you. You are entitled to have a lawyer now and have him or her present now or at any time during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you without cost, and he or she may be present at all times during your questioning. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand these rights? Okay. Do you wish to talk to me at this time without your lawyer?
I just want to know what's going on.
I understand. That's going to take a conversation. Do you want to have this conversation and speak with me without your lawyer now?
I guess I got to talk to you to see what's going on because I'm lost here.
I understand. So what I'm looking for is like a yes or no. And I hear what you're saying, but just for documented purposes, yes or no. You want to speak with me now?
Yeah, I'll talk to you. What's
okay.
going on? What's going on?
Let me grab some stuff. It's not much longer. I've been here for a little bit. It's already...
Hey, look, they saying some pants up here by me, man.
Who?
At the house, they picked me up wrong. They said, I need my pants, man. Look what I got on, man. Some fucking long
When you say they, you talking about people who picked you up?
Yeah. They said my girl supposed to send
okay, so your girl's gonna come up here?
No, she ain't go. I can't even call her. I ain't even got no way to even call her. She asked me about the hour.
Where's your phone?
My phone?
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. I ain't got my phone. Everything gone.
Did the people who picked you up got your phone?
No, I had a tablet.
You didn't have a phone?
I had a tablet.
Okay, so I'm trying to get you numbers. So where can I get you her number?
I know it by heart.
Okay, I'll write it all down. 1 second.
All right.
So this is one of the shooters
economy, we are pausing it at 1:11:59 and fast forwarding to 1:26:08. It's actually 1:25:06. We're starting.
So he's complaining that he's wearing long johns and he wants pants. They picked him up in long johns. The victim was not a store clerk. The victim was a customer. The clerk, store clerk, actually called 911. It's like, hey, can you send the police? There's a dead guy out in our parking lot and it's hurting business, or something to that effect. I might have interpreted that wrong, but he was very clear. It's like he's not anything we did. He's not our dead guy. He was outside the store, not inside.
All right. Let me get those phone numbers.
What phone number?
When I'm supposed to bring you your pants.
See, at that time, they told me that they won't let her give them the pants, so they can bring it down here.
All right.
And, they said they promised me they're going to do it. They didn't even do it. They just snatched me up out of it. I said, it's wrong.
Well, how you know they didn't? I thought you were saying that your girl was going to bring them up here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she will if I call her.
Okay.
Bring me a pair of pants, because I need a pair of pants, because it's cold down there.
It is.
It's freezing down there.
All right, we're pausing at 1:26:42, and then we're going to 1:30:03. Around it.
Is this her cell phone number?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Miss Johnson.
What's her first name?
Tanya.
TonyA?
J-U-A. You'll know T-O-N, J-U-A.
Her name is Johnson too?
So tell me about that incident in October where your homeboy's already locked up on this. You have to know this already. Ingram?
Right.
What do you know about him being locked up? Have you talked to him since he's been here? How'd you find out he was locked up?
Just streets, I guess.
The streets told you? So this was when you were doing the report when he got shot, right?
So he shows up to the interview.
Right.
Okay. Real briefly, what happened that night?
What happened?
Mm-hmm. You don't have to give me like a detailed story, just what happened that night.
Shit. The police said y'all got a camera footage. Officer Smallwood.
Okay.
They said they had footage. What I told them, matched up to what they seen.
Tell it to me. Tell it to me. You don't have to give the detail you said Smallwood?
So I'm sitting in the car. We're sitting in the car, finna get ready to leave. Store closed. Somebody approaches the car. Tried to rob us with them little guns out. We had them little 223.
Ms. Russell, if you could pause this, jurors are indicating they can't hear it.
Okay.
Do you have an alternative means or a speaker we could do to?
I do have another speaker. I would have to go get it, Your Honor, I have a huge speaker that we can play it on.
All right, I think that would be a good idea.
I've got my DJ sound system.
While you're retrieving that, perhaps there's some other topics you can cover with this witness.
Okay, sure. What time, do you know what time 878 Norwood closed?
So it's 10 p.m. That's what the clerk told me when he first showed me the footage.
Okay.
So
and that was the next day.
At least, yeah, that's when he told me the next day. But at least on Thanksgiving Eve, I don't know what their normal time is, but on Thanksgiving Eve, they close at 10 o'clock.
Okay, the night of this murder.
Correct, on the 25th of November, 2020.
Okay. We'll talk about the interview a little bit. At some point in time, were you able to get into conversations about the night of the murder?
Yes.
With Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. And did he tell you anything specifically about him being on scene or not being on scene of 1955 Moreland?
He said that wasn't him.
Okay. Now, when you asked him about 878 Norwood, what did he tell you?
He affirmed that that was him at 878 Norwood, just minutes before the incident in 1955.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, we use this. When you showed Mr. Johnson photographs at 878 Norwood.
He confirmed that.
Okay. And then when you showed him photographs of 1955 Moreland. Okay. Same thing, even in the back.
Yes, ma'am.
He said it was him at 878 Norwood.
Yes, ma'am.
And not him.
That's correct.
Okay.
We call it the mustard murder because the victim went to the convenience store
At
just to
this
buy
time,
mustard.
he knew he was going to be under arrest for murder, correct?
I did tell him he was in custody. Yes, ma'am.
This is Georgia. One thing we learn about Georgia is their cases are very back. They have a lot of crime. They take a long time. If you ever watch Judge Manning on YouTube, you've got people in jail. They're like, I've been in jail for 230 days without arraignment. It's been they have long delays in the justice system. Way too long.
I think that's it. Just the video now, Judge.
All right. So all you'd have left is the publication of the video.
Yep. And I'm not playing all of it. I'll just skip to the relevant portions.
All right. Well, let me ask this. Mr. Brown, would you be prepared to begin your cross-examination and you have another chance at cross based on the publication of the video?
I really would like to see the remainder of the video, Your Honor.
All right. And that, I understand. Members of the jury, why don't we go ahead and just take 5-10 minutes and hopefully we can resume when you rejoin us.
All right, from the jurors.
While the lawyer is running out to her car to get her DJ sound system, which hopefully she has all the right adapter cables to connect to get better audio. Tom R33 says, love it here. Thanks, Josh, for the gifted membership. Congratulations on winning that, Tom, and thank you for 9 months of support. Fulton County is the absolute most unlawful holdings I've ever seen. People sitting in custody with absolutely no bail or anything for over a year, and it's more ridiculous. It's bad. It's bad.
That's pretty good.
All right. If anyone needs to step out, they can, but otherwise, let's hold in place.
Your Honor, and is there any way that we can, the volume in here, is that the loudest that it goes?
We don't have control over a volume knob.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. So we'll be off the record until we have that set up.
I think so. He's on the chat. Like,
He's still my cord on here.
Just, close. She's keeping at it. Says he feels great. If he's on pain, he's on the meds. I tell you what.
You on it? Can my client come around and look at that demonstrative?
My client would like to see the pictures of himself at the crime scene, committing the crime. Now, my question is, when they pulled him in like a month later at the police station to interview him, he wore the same hoodie? He wore the same hoodie? Is that what I've seen, or was that later that night? I just don't understand why the guy's wearing the same distinctive clothes that showed that he wore during the crime. He just has the one hoodie, maybe. Just might be pure coincidence. It's like he's worn it twice in the last 2 months. Once for the crime and once for when he got picked up. He is in the room. We have not seen the defendant unless he's walked across the screen there and I wasn't looking. We haven't seen him yet. His backpack is also a shark, right? I think we did see the shark backpack from images of the search for the home from yesterday morning stream where we had part 1. This is continuing. This is the afternoon. I'm actually going to speed up the time one more time. Let's skip ahead, shall we? Nope. Apparently we're right where we need to be.
My buddy Bug. I put on my gun and started shooting at him.
You were in which seat?
Driver.
Okay.
And I started shooting at him. That was it.
The gun that you used to shoot at him, you didn't hit him, you just shot at him.
I don't know. I was just trying to get them away.
I think they're just testing.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Trying to save my life.
So the gun that you used to shoot at him, did you ever give that to Smallwood?
One time, shot him.
You ran. Thank you.
I didn't see the other message.
Did you get the
Yes.
HTML corner?
I get that message too. I got back up here.
Oh, okay. Let's try to figure it out.
Okay.
Really quick. Because maybe we can play it some kind of way.
This can continue tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's the first time seeing it so big, because now they have spots.
Okay.
So we're still at break, but I can't tell when we come back because they're playing video and the judge is sitting there. So we sort of have to watch the whole thing happen. Might be just a couple minutes. This is a 2-day trial, happened this week. So the trial officially is over right now because I think it ended like yesterday or something. So we're watching the last bit of it and the verdict and everything today. It'll pretty much take up most of our day. Just as a heads up, this victim was shot 12 times from the head to the kneecaps. And in the lower nether regions, he also sustained an injury. And during the autopsy medical examiner portion, all those injuries will be shown in great detail, sans clothing. There's obviously one picture we're going to try to edit out. So I have, I've got this feed playing with they're giving me about a 4-second, about a 2-second warning before a picture shows. Not that, I mean, we've showed the body laying on the ground with all the gore around it. We're fine with those. But this particular image being of the nature it is, causes the little computer that critiques things at YouTube a little bit of heartache. And I'd rather not have that for the channel. So I don't know if I can cover something up because I have not seen it. I guess I could scroll ahead and try to find it. I haven't seen the picture yet. Maybe I could use the peach to cover it up. It wouldn't be a peach. It would be a red pen is what we're what we're dealing with. Echo.
That's going to be a feedback loop. Someone's going to be off mute.
Was that us? Her. Dude. Okay. Okay, so let's pause it. Let's get your mic.
Yeah.
No, your mic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And go to microphone. Do off. I think. Okay. Perfect. X, yeah. So let's try.
What's her name?
You need to just double check your devices. Someone's unmuted. I think that's the only way that feedback loop is created.
The judge is an audio guy.
And the best way to tell is if you exit out the video, we should be able to see all the screens.
If they didn't, I would lose my mind.
So now try to play it. No. Oh, it's the podium. Hello.
The podium has to stay unmuted.
Okay. If that's the only way we can play this so the jury can hear it, we'll just have it muted while it's being published and then put the podium back on. I don't know why that's, I guess because it's not being broadcast through Zoom, it's creating a feedback loop.
Try it to see even if that works.
Yeah, I think he has no idea what we're saying right now because it's muted. It's muted. And now he is. Okay.
Hey, who was it that sent me the message about EDB? Sherry?
All right, testing.
I'm looking for it.
Is the podium muted? Podium muted.
Was it an email? Hey, I just got hit up with what looks like a scam. What they call that? Sponsor offer. Hi, I want to buy promotional placement in your future video. It might be a pre-roll or a separate video. How much would this charge, and when will we be able to release it? The topic of our item is a fitness app, and I believe it would be appropriate for your viewers. Sherry, I didn't see the email. When did the email come through? Was it yesterday? Greeners. Now everything's muted in court. No, last week. Can you resend it to mdrecoveryaddict@gmail.com? Because I am not seeing it. I don't want you to out what your email is right here, but yeah, so all of this with no spaces, right? Just mdrecoveryaddict@gmail.com would get to me. By the way, I appreciate some prankster out there is signing me up for emails that I have zero interest in. Mostly, I think, dating apps for... yeah, I'm married. I'm happily married. Thank you. I'm not looking for a sugar daddy in my life, but thank you for putting me on the list. So I'm suing them one step at a time. No, just kidding. Let's see. EDB, Runkel, and Rob, they all use Court TV. They like Court TV. Court TV likes them. Court TV actually jumps in on their live streams and comments and says, hey, this is great type thing. So they have a good relationship there. I go the other route. I go I get approved as media and try to get it straight from the source before Court TV puts a logo on top of it. Ask your wife if you can get a sugar daddy for the tech gear. It would have to be like a Jeff Bezos type level. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos level. Okay, so now we have no audio whatsoever. I assume the court does have audio. So they turned off the court mics. Have they stood up yet and had the jury come in? We can't even read lips. Okay, so we're going to speed this up because he's describing a mask of some sort. I think it's just for this interview. I can zoom past it, but I don't know if the audio comes back at any point. His body language is very defiant. Yeah, it wasn't me. This is Misty Harris. Think you nailed it. It wasn't me. Everything I did was good. And no one could have recognized me because I was wearing a mask. He's saying I went to Walmart and then this happened. He had a mustache. What's the item on the lower left seat of the table? I don't know. She's showing him screenshots from security camera footage. And the way she's got the folder open and hiding the next picture from him, she's doing this in a probably a really smart way, where she's presenting a little bit of evidence and making him solidify a story or offer an explanation, and then she's going to come back and show him information that makes his explanation invalid. So I imagine at the end, oh look, he's looking at his hoodie. He's like, "What, this hoodie? What do you mean? Oh wow, it does look sort of like this one, a shark hoodie with the teeth and all." And then she's going to whip out like another one. Oh, and here's the picture. She twiddles her pen. Witness is thinking, you said something about a lawyer? Is it a who wore it better moment? No. Now he's developing amnesia. A lot of shaking the head. Bed lip rating, wrong answers only. Dang, that does look like my hoodie. And they told me I had the only one. See if we get audio back here. Witness is being asked a question. Did you, in fact, draw on the image there in the evidence room with that pen, or was it just used as a pointer? No, I didn't realize the pen was actually in the using position, and I did make a small mark, which ended up looking like horns on the head. And so you'll see that in the evidence that's submitted. I have no idea who that is in the picture. It looks like me, but it's not me. There's my twin. Yes. Mama told me there were two of us. Separated at birth. Hair's pulled back. He's serious now. This is the running position. Less wind drag if he has to split and make it out of there in his long johns. Alita, I saw that you're going to be at Corey Richens. It's exciting. I was home in bed. My pillow is my witness. Ooh, more pictures are coming. More pictures. She's got a bunch to show. This one's just black. What do you think about that? Oh, wait. That's the side of the... That's him with his pew-pew out, waiting at the side of the convenience store. It's like, man, they had a camera back there? I didn't see any cameras. And all the time he's thinking, I should have worn a different hoodie. I should have worn a different hoodie. There you were, creeping around the corner. I was out stargazing. Just looking at the moon and stargazing. Burying knives. It's like, that one looks like me. Yeah, it looks like me, but I don't remember this. Yeah, nope. Don't remember this at all. I'm actually scared of corners. It's not me. That's Jay and Silent Bob. They're always there leaning on the wall together. That's their spot. It's the thing they do. Next level chess move. Wear the same clothes. What sort of arrogance does it take to show up to your interrogation wearing the same outfit you committed the crime in? And you did it at a convenience store, which has like 500 of those cameras mounted everywhere. You know that if you're within like 100 yards of the place, they've got you in HD on like 4 different angles. And here you are showing up in the same thing. Why is it going to junk? Sherry, I got it before. I just found it in the junk drawer. EDB has her channel. First of all, is big enough that she might have the resources to do a little bit more than I can. But I've got the tech side, and I know how to file for that. It's a little bit expensive. I think in her case, it would give her. I think she's big enough that it could be financially a good move for her in almost every situation. The one downside is courts are a little bit finicky, and some days you show up for court and they're like, oh, it's been postponed for a week. Things like that get really expensive for a channel to absorb if they've outlaid a whole bunch of cash to get a clean feed. Like, imagine if I was going to Utah just for the Corey Richards case, and I showed up on the 8th, and they're like, oh, we've put it off for a month, and now I've got this trip and all the costs that I would have to either do again. That's not worth it. That's why a lot of the bigger channels, they hire people local every time there's a court case, and then they just FedEx overnight the live view to them, and they just plug it in and run it. Somebody ran by me and gave me this hoodie. It's like, it's actually warm in here. Do you mind if I take this off? Karina, the problem is the jury could not hear what was being played in this video. And so the court said to the prosecution, stop it. Do you have a bigger speaker? And she said, yeah, I do. It's out in my car. She ran out and got her Bluetooth speaker. I think we're almost done with it right now. Any second now. There we go. Let's see if we get audio back. She ran out and got a bigger speaker, plugged it in, turned it on, and it messed up the audio like that. So they're going to be fixing that.
Good afternoon, Sergeant Barry.
How you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Cross-examination.
So a search warrant was conducted at 1950 Campbellton Road, Shamrock Gardens apartment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whose residence is that?
I'm not sure.
Do you have the search warrant?
I don't have that.
Okay. But are you aware of what was seized from this location?
All I'm sure of was his cell phone was seized from the location upon his arrest.
Mr. Johnson's cell phone?
That's correct. That's correct.
Was seized from his person?
From his person upon his arrest, yes.
Okay. Can I see 75, Stacy 75?
Do you want it on the screen because it's up there? I just let me know.
The phone will be fine.
This is in Georgia, Fulton County, Georgia.
Thank you.
No problem.
So, pursuant to what we heard on the video, Mr. Johnson admitted that these are him?
That's correct.
But he denied that these photos are him?
That's correct.
Okay.
They brought in a speaker and had to crank up the volume. They turned off the court sound, which cut our feed.
And
so the jury
Mr. Johnson never admitted to being at 1955 Moreland Avenue. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Did he admit to knowing anything about what took place at 1955?
He did. He did.
What did he admit?
Well, he went from, again, like when he mentioned the victim, that he has a lot going on. We were supposed to meet the next day. But as I started to talk more about, well, he was shot and killed. And then he let me know that, the streets kind of told me that. And then he stated that the streets was saying that he's had something to do with it. I then confronted him. So why are you seeming so shocked that you're here speaking with the police if the community has assumed that you had something to do with it? And that was when he wanted to go. He stopped the interview.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you, Sergeant.
No problem.
Let me redirect.
There's a YSL hearing today. A brand new judge. I think this is judge number 4.
Yes, Your Honor.
Deciding how to proceed.
Sergeant Barry, do defendants or do suspects that are charged with murder often lie to you when you interview them?
Yes, ma'am.
Even when confronted with evidence of their guilt, do they often lie?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
Any recross on that point only?
Yes, Your Honor. Do you have hard and fast evidence that Mr. Johnson was lying to you?
Do I have hard, fast evidence that he lied?
That he was lying to you?
For a specific lie or overall for this whole case? Because, yes, there's evidence to show that he was lying.
Okay. You answered the prosecutor, the defendants often lie to you. So do you have any evidence that, let's say a specific lie that Mr. Johnson may have told you?
Yeah, for example, his gun that he said that he threw over a bridge a month prior to the shooting is the same gun that was found with the shell casings on at 1955 Moreland. So that would be proof of a lie with the whole handgun.
Isn't it correct that gun is not Mr. Johnson's gun, but Mr. Ingram's gun?
So there were 2 guns that were used. So we did recover Mr. Ingram's gun when we picked him up with the search warrant. But we were never able to take the gun that Mr. Johnson has. It was never recovered. So a month prior to the homicide, he stated to the police that he threw the weapon that he used to engage in fire to the suspects because he was a victim in that particular case. But he did return fire. That is the same gun that was used to gun down my victim, which was the primary gun that was used to gun down my victim.
But are you in possession of that gun?
Again, we did not recover the gun. Just these are coming from the shell cases.
Shell casings.
He admitted that he used that gun a month before, but that is the same gun that was used at 1955 on the night of Mr. Carr's murder.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just real quick. You see the person, Jamon Johnson, in the courtroom that you interviewed on the night on that interview date?
Yes, ma'am. The gentleman sit here with the suit and tie and the dreads, tattoos on face.
Let the record reflect that this was identified to the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
All right, nothing further.
Mr. Brown, do you have anything you want to go over in terms of the identification?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Russell, can this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, next up,
You want the
medical
jury
examiner.
need a break? Seeing none, state can call us next witness.
State calls Dr. Karen Sullivan.
This is the one that we have to add a couple of images out of. So. I think one image in particular. I don't know how long it's on the screen, but for the duration of that image, it will you'll see this instead. So if you look right there, that's where the picture is going to be. That's how I can know when it's down. I just don't want to see a close-up of somebody's junk on the screen because YouTube will have issues with that. We should still have audio. It was just that police interview that the prosecutor had to play like using a Bluetooth speaker. When she used a Bluetooth speaker, it would cause a feedback loop with the mic system. So they turned off the mic system so the people in the courtroom could hear, but the recording could not.
I do.
First the last name for court.
Karen Sullivan, KarenSullivan.
Okay. All right, Dr. Sullivan, what is your occupation?
I'm the chief medical examiner for the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office here in Atlanta.
And are you a duly licensed physician?
I am.
Okay, and what states?
Georgia.
How long have you been a medical examiner?
Since July of 2003.
And how long have you been a doctor?
I graduated from med school in May of 1997.
Okay. And I know you are a medical examiner, but is that a particular field or branch of medicine that you practice in?
It is.
Okay, and what is that?
Pathology, which is the study of disease and trauma on a person's body.
Okay. And where did you receive your training in pathology?
I did my residency in anatomic and clinical pathology at Emory University here in Atlanta, and then did an additional year of forensic pathology training at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office in conjunction with Emory.
So can you just explain to the jury, what are some of the duties of a medical examiner?
Well, we determine cause and manner of death of people who die of sudden, unexpected, or unexplained causes, people who die as a result of trauma, either self-inflicted or inflicted by another person.
And does that work include performing autopsies?
It does.
Okay. Can you just explain to the jury what exactly an autopsy is for your purposes?
Well, an autopsy is both an external and an internal examination of a person's body, looking for natural disease processes and injuries. So the external examination is much like you would get when you go to your doctor or you take your child to the pediatrician, looking at a person's height, weight, their body habitus, any external characteristics that are unique to them, and also looking for natural disease and injury. And then once the external examination is done, the internal examination is done by examining the person's internal organs, once again looking for injuries and natural disease in order to determine their cause and manner of death.
Okay. All right. During your experience or during your time as a medical examiner, how many autopsies have you performed?
I've either performed myself or supervised pathology residents and forensic pathology fellows, approximately 4,000 autopsies.
Are you a member of any specialized medical or scientific groups or association?
I am.
Okay, and what are those?
The National Association of Medical Examiners.
Okay, all right. And specifically, do you have any certifications of any sort to qualify you as a forensic pathologist or pathologist?
I do. I'm board certified in anatomic, clinical, and forensic pathology.
Okay, I think she's got the experience. That's a lot of bodies.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, state will tender Dr. Sullivan as an expert in the field of forensic pathology.
No objection to Dr. Sullivan being tendered as an expert in the field of forensic pathology.
You may proceed, Ms. Russell.
Thank you. I'm going to direct your attention to case number 2020-02497. It's medical examiner case number. Do you recognize that case number?
I do.
Okay. And how do you recognize that case number?
It's the case number associated with Mr. Jerry Carr.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 85. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 85?
I do.
Is 85 a fair and accurate copy of a autopsy report done in your office by Dr. Jacqueline Benjamin?
It is.
All right. And do you see any deletions or additions to this autopsy report?
I do not.
Okay. At this time, State tender State's Exhibit 85 into evidence.
No objection.
Admitted.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 86 through 115. And before I get into that, is Dr. Benjamin or was Dr. Benjamin a doctor in the office?
She was.
And at some point, did you do a peer review of her work?
I did.
Okay. And is Dr. Benjamin still in your office?
She is not.
So at times where doctors sometimes leave your office, if there's somebody that does a peer review, do they often testify in that person's behalf?
Yes.
Okay. That's what you're doing today?
Yes.
All right. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 86 through 115.
She's reviewing these pictures, authenticating, then they're going to start showing them on the screen. Just a little warning for you, these are graphic. These are autopsy photos of a...
Do you recognize State's Exhibits 86 through 115?
Sans clothing with 12
Yes, I do recognize them.
And are they photographs taken during the autopsy of Jerry Carr, case number 2020-02497?
They are.
Your Honor, and are they fair and accurate depiction of that autopsy that was done?
Yes, they are.
All right. This time, State tenders 86 through 115 into evidence.
No objection.
86 through 115 are admitted.
All right. So what information do you have available when you do a peer review?
Well, the peer review is done in our office for all cases where the manner of death is either a homicide or undetermined. And so the doctor who does the autopsy will give the peer reviewer a copy of their draft report, and the photographs are maintained on a Fulton County server so that any doctor can review the photos for any particular case. So as the peer reviewer, I go through the draft report and make my own opinion as to the wounds that are on a person's body and the cause of death, the manner of death. And if I have any suggestions or parts of the report that I don't agree with, I will let the doctor, in this case, Dr. Benjamin, know. And if we disagree about something, then we would have a discussion about the particular wounds. On this case, I didn't have any suggestions of Dr. Benjamin's report. I agreed with her findings. So then when she finalizes the report electronically in our case management system, I can electronically add my signature to the report so that both our signatures appear on any person's autopsy report, in this case, Mr. Carr's.
Okay. And let me just ask you, based on your review, were you able to develop your own independent conclusion regarding the cause and manner of death to Mr. Carr?
Yes.
All right. And did you sign the autopsy report authored by Dr. Benjamin as well?
I did.
Okay. All right. So if we could turn to, Your Honor, may we publish State's Exhibit 85, 86 through 115 as well?
Yes.
All right. So let's start with 85.
Something on her computer keeps popping up these messages on her screen, those gray boxes.
Okay, if we could just start with 86. Dr. Sullivan, do you mind just going through this first page, just telling us what this is and why you all do this first page?
And so the first page is called the face page, and it will have the decedent's case number, which in Mr. Carr's case was 2020-2497, meaning his death was reported in the year 2020 and was number 2,497 reported that year. Then the decedent's first and last names, their age, race, and sex, the cause of death, the manner of death, the doctor who did the autopsy, in this case, Dr. Benjamin, and she did the autopsy on Thursday, November 26, 2020. And then the print date means the date that the report was finalized, which was May 12 of 2021.
All right, if we can go to page number 2. Okay, so starting with page number 2, it'll pop up soon for the jury. What does page number 2 and page number 3 consist of?
Pages 2 and 3 have the reason that the doctor performs the examination and or the summary of findings. And here on this next page, starting with Roman numeral 1, Dr. Benjamin lists some of the gunshot wounds on this page that Mr. Carr received, and that continues on to the next, I believe, 2 pages.
Page 2 and page 3.
It's a lot of wounds.
There it is.
And so then here's the next page, and then the cause of death at the bottom were gunshot wounds of the head, torso, and extremities, and the manner of death, homicide.
Okay. All right. Okay. If you could go to page 6, please. I'm sorry, I meant to say page. Actually, we need to go to page 5. On page 5 of this report, can you just explain what exactly an external examination is?
Well, the external examination consists of looking at a person's body habitus and their identifying characteristics, and just reports what the doctor sees both before and after the person is disrobed if they come with any clothing.
Okay. All right. And then page 6, evidence of injury.
So in Dr. Benjamin's report, she has in the first paragraph that says description of gunshot wounds, that neither soot nor stippling was seen around any of the gunshot wounds, and there was no soot on the clothing. There was a small bullet fragment that was recovered from Mr. Carr's blue shirt, and then she tabulates the summary of the gunshot wounds with the entrance, where the entrance is located, an exit, if there's an exit on the body for that particular gunshot wound, where the bullet might have re-entered the body, and then the ultimate exit or where the bullet was recovered from.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit. As far as Mr. Carr was concerned, how many entrance wounds to the body were there?
There were 12 gunshot wounds.
Okay. And you mentioned something about a re-entry wound. What does that mean?
Well, that means, for example, if you look at the second line in that table, there was a gunshot wound that entered the right side of Mr. Carr's chest, came out the left side of his chest, and then re-entered into his left arm where the bullet was retained.
But the 12 entrance wounds aren't counting the re-entry, correct?
Correct.
All right. All right. So if we could please go to State's Exhibit 86.
I've got to be paying attention now.
Okay. What do we see here on State's Exhibit 86?
This is a photograph taken of Mr. Carr's identification tag that was attached to his body bag where his body was enclosed. And on the tag is his case number, his name, his age, race, and sex, the name of the investigator in our office who made the tag, and the seal number, which you see on the red plastic seal at the top left photograph, and that seal closes the zipper pulls of the disaster bag together.
All right, if we can go to States 87.
Here we go.
Okay. What do we see here in States 87?
This is Mr. Carr as he was received in our office from his left-hand side.
States 88.
This is a facial identification photograph taken of Mr. Carr, and on his chest is a placard that has his case number.
States Exhibit 89. And let me ask you, do the photographs that are taken, do those match up to anything in the autopsy report?
Yes, they match the summary of findings on the first few pages of the autopsy report, and in the body of the autopsy report, the section of acute injury.
Okay. So if we could, I know we're looking at the pictures, but if Dr. Sullivan, do you mind going to that pathologic diagnosis, starting with Roman numeral 1 in the autopsy report?
Okay, so this Roman numeral 1 in Dr. Benjamin's report was listed as a penetrating, indeterminate range gunshot wound of the head. Penetrating means that the bullet entered his head and then stayed in his body. The entrance wound was on the right parietal occipital scalp, which means the right side where the back of the head meets the side of the head. and it caused multiple skull fractures as it entered the skull and damaged his brain, and the bullet was retained from the skull.
If we can go to the next one, please. State's Exhibit 90. Gotta zoom out. And according to Roman numeral 2, what is going to be State's Exhibit 90?
And so here you can see Mr. Carr is now lying face up on the examination table. And on the right side of his chest is a gunshot entrance wound that is listed as Roman numeral 2, a penetrating indeterminate range gunshot wound of the chest. And also on his chest beneath the gunshot wound is a small piece of adhesive tape that has his case number and a ruler attached to it. This bullet entered the right side of his chest, went through his right lung, his aorta, which is the large blood vessel that leaves the heart taking oxygenated blood to the body, went through the heart itself, and then exited the left side of his chest.
Those two shots State's Exhibit 91. Individually were fatal.
Let me rotate it for you. There we go. Okay. And go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dr. Sullivan.
I'm sorry. So this is now the left side of Mr. Carr's chest. This is the exit wound that corresponds to the entrance wound on the right side of his chest.
State's Exhibit 92.
Okay, so now Mr. Carr's left arm has been pulled away from his body. And may I touch the screen?
If you must.
I think you can have access to it. Oh, Judge.
Okay.
What just happened?
The answer is yes. You may just
okay. And so there on the left side of Mr. Carr's chest is the exit wound that we saw in the photograph before. And then here on the inside of his arm is a re-entrance wound that the bullet went into the left arm and fractured the humerus, which is the bone in the arm. And then that bullet was recovered from Mr. Carr's left arm. That's all under Roman numeral 2.
If we can go to Roman numeral 3. And next exhibit, please.
It's blurred.
All right.
So this photograph is taken as the photographer is standing on Mr. Carr's right-hand side, and there's a gunshot wound here of his right hip, which is documented in Roman numeral 3 of the pathologic diagnoses of summary of findings section of the report. And that gunshot wound went into the right hip and then ended in this area within the body, the pubic bone beneath the skin.
If we can go to State's Exhibit 94 and Roman numeral 4.
So here in Roman numeral 4 is a perforating gunshot wound of the back, and the gunshot wound entrance is there on the right side of Mr. Carr's right back. This went through his right lung, his liver, and his left kidney before exiting the left side of his lower back.
I think we'll get to the exit in a second, but if we can go to Roman numeral 5, but State's Exhibit number 95. Okay. All right, State's Exhibit 95.
So this is a gunshot wound on the right side or the lateral side of Mr. Carr's right arm. That in Roman numeral 5 went through the right arm and then exited the top and medial surface of the right arm.
All right. If we can go to State's Exhibit 96, please. And then we'll go back. Okay. 96, Roman numerals 6, please.
And so this is the gunshot wound of Mr. Carr's right forearm.
And where the tape is, where that little placard is, that's what you're talking about?
It is, yes.
All right. If we can go to State's Exhibit 97. Okay.
So we saw on the side of Mr. Carr's right arm an entrance wound. Here is the exit wound that corresponds to that entrance wound. That's the higher wound. Here on the forearm, this is an entrance wound that corresponds to the exit wound that we saw in the previous picture of Mr. Carr's forearm.
All right. Man. States Exhibit 98 in Roman numeral number 7.
I'm going to cut this one out. Sorry.
And so here we're looking at Mr. Carr's, the back of his thighs. So now this side,
more than that too.
He's laying face down on the table. So this is his right thigh and that's his left thigh. On the back of the right thigh is the entrance wound that corresponds to Roman numeral 7 on the autopsy report. This bullet went into the back of Mr. Carr's right thigh and fractured his right femur or thigh bone. And then the bullet was recovered from the skeletal muscles of the thigh.
Go to States Exhibit 99, please. One more. There we go. Is this the exit wound to that previous one that we had just seen?
I'm sorry, to the right?
Yes, to the right thigh.
No, this is another entrance wound on the side of the right thigh. Okay. This belongs to, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my, no, I'm sorry, you are correct. This is the exit wound that corresponds to the entrance wound on the back of the right thigh. Even though the bullet made this defect, there were still bullet fragments that were recovered from the skeletal muscle.
Go to States Exhibit 100. States Exhibit 100 in Roman numeral 8.
So Roman numeral 8 is an entrance wound seen here on Mr. Carr's right knee. That's the entrance wound, and then the exit wound is on the other side or lateral outside of the right knee.
And that States 101, please. Is that the exit that you were just speaking of?
It is.
Okay. All right. States Exhibit 102.
And so there are two wounds here on the left side of Mr. Carr's back. The lower wound here corresponds to the entrance wound that we saw in this area of the right side of Mr. Carr's back. And again, that bullet passed through his right lung, his liver, and his left kidney before exiting.
That was Roman numeral number 4?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And then above it is another entrance wound on the left side of the back, and that projectile was recovered in the left pleural cavity, the blood of the left pleural cavity. So it likely damaged the left lung.
All right, States Exhibit 103.
So this is Mr. Carr's left forearm, and this corresponds to a gunshot wound listed in Roman numeral 10. This is an exit wound on the back of his left forearm.
And 104? Okay, there we go.
That's the entrance wound that's on the front or anterior surface of the left forearm.
For Roman numeral 10?
For Roman numeral 10, yes.
All right, we can go to States Exhibit 105, and then we can look at Roman numeral 11.
So here's another photograph of Mr. Carr lying face down on the examination table, looking at the back of his left thigh. Is an entrance wound on the back of the left thigh that exits the front of the left thigh and then passes through his penis.
Okay. We can go to Roman numeral 106. Okay.
So now Mr. Carr is face up on the table. So on his left thigh is an exit wound, and then two wounds of his penis where that same projectile has passed through his penis.
So there was a re-entry on this one as well?
There was, yes.
Well, if we can go to State's Exhibit 107. Okay. And what is State's Exhibit 107?
So this is an entrance wound on Mr. Carr's left leg. And there's a corresponding exit wound on the back of his left calf. This corresponds to gunshot wound number 12.
Can go to 108, please. All right. And that's the exit one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right, 109.
He was riddled with bullets.
What do we see in State's Exhibit 109?
These are photographs of projectiles and projectile fragments that Dr. Benjamin recovered during the course of the autopsy, both from Mr. Carr's body and from his clothing.
This had to be some sort of gang activity. There was no robbery. It was either
One
retaliation.
second, please, Doctor.
Send it a message of some sort.
Dr. Sullivan, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 122. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 122?
Yes, I do.
And are those the bullets and fragments recovered from Mr. Carr's body?
They are.
Okay. And do they appear to be in the condition that they were recovered or how they were recovered?
Yes.
Okay. State tenders State's Exhibit 122 into evidence.
No objection.
122 is admitted.
And we got ad-limited. YouTube said even what we showed was too much.
All right. We can take this down now. Take it down.
I can try to appeal it, but
all right. Was Dr. Benjamin and yourself, because you came up with your own opinion, were you able to determine the cause of death in this matter?
Yes.
And what was that?
Gunshot wounds of the head, torso, and extremities.
Okay. And were you able to determine a manner of death?
Yes.
And what was that?
Homicide.
Okay. And what does homicide mean?
Homicide means that the death was caused by another individual.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any cross-examination?
Good afternoon, Dr. Sullivan.
Good afternoon.
Excuse me. How many projectiles were recovered from Mr. Carr's body?
There were 6 projectile and or fragments that Dr. Benjamin recovered.
Were any of them in a condition that the caliber could be determined?
That's outside my field of expertise. That would involve a ballistics examiner, for example, from the GBI.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Red
Any
Ben.
redirect?
Appreciate that.
No, Your Honor.
Dr. Sullivan, may excuse.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
It was a very thorough examination. Did not see any trajectory rods, but assume that
All right, members of the jury, I have
it's fairly complicated.
been informed by the state that we're proceeding quite efficiently and we are ahead of schedule. And I've been told that they have about 3 more witnesses they need to present, that they have conflicts today, and so that they won't be here until tomorrow morning. So we're going to break a little early today. And to give you a little preview of what's expected after those 3 witnesses, I think it's quite possible tomorrow that we might actually get to closing arguments. And the case late in the day may very well be at a point where you can start your deliberations. From there, you're in control. And so deliberations from there, so it's hard to predict where it goes from there because we take our cues from you. Deliberations, there's no requirement of how long those take. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 5 days, as long as you're making progress. So we'll see where we are tomorrow. And again, trials aren't scripted things, so I can't make any firm promises, but I just wanted to at least give you some idea of what to expect for tomorrow. So for now, I would ask, again, as with this morning, to be back here tomorrow, ready to go 9 a.m., and we'll kick it back off for another productive day. Does anyone have any questions for me before we break? All right, seeing none, there's always 2 things I have to remind you about, which is don't conduct any research about this case, and everything you learn has to come from inside this courtroom, and not to discuss the case with anyone. You can discuss logistics, but the details, the substance, everything like that, keep that to yourself, including amongst yourselves, until those deliberations start. Thank you so much again. We'll see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
All right, to yourself, including amongst yourselves. Don't talk to anyone else or each other. All right. Debbie Wilson, thank you very much. All aboard the demonetization train. Samantha Terry came in with a dang it. It happens. It happens. But thank you all. That was awesome. Cindy RN as well. Thanks for the support. That is just amazing. You guys are wonderful. This happens on some trials, and we know it was going to happen.
All right. Before I forget, I wanted to flag one thing for the state, which is at the point, assuming we get there, to deliberations, because there was a silent video that was, I think, a big part of the state's case. I would anticipate that would be the kind of thing the jury's going to want to watch more than once, even if it's played during closing. And I just want to flag this for you, is that my understanding is that does not fall into the continuing witness rule because there's no audio involved. It's just a silent video. However, they don't have a way to play it in the jury room. So generally, we're just bringing them back out here to play it. But there is an option where if we can provide them with a device that they could just play it as much as they want on their own, maybe prevent a lot of that coming in and out and kind of let them do what they want with it. I don't have that kind of a device. If you have a laptop that's kind of been wiped and you want to clear that with Mr. Brown and go over it, that's an idea for you. I think it would save us a lot of headache or just things coming up during deliberation. So I just flagged that for you. We can bring it back up tomorrow if it's an option. In the meantime, I'm probably going to end up getting a laptop like that for at some point in the future. But anyhow, with that, I know the state says we have our 3 witnesses tomorrow. Based on Mr. Brown's representation at the start of trial, at most he's got 1 witness. And I'll for Mr. Johnson tomorrow to ask you whether you want to testify, whether it's going to be it's got to be a voluntary decision. It's going to be your decision, yours alone. All right. There's going to be some things we go over. But even if Mr. Johnson does decide to testify, it does appear like we'd be ready for a charge conference either right before lunch or right after lunch. And so I guess my advice and bottom line would be it looks like the parties should probably be prepared to close tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right. And then we'll see where we are, but it's something else to flag and just have in mind, which is if closings are concluded really later in the day, like at 4 o'clock or 4:30, do we go ahead and let juror 11 go? He's the one with the medical appointments for Thursday, or do we keep him on and make him deliberate for an hour and then send him home? These are things to think about. We'll see where we land tomorrow. Anything else from the state before we break for the day?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown? All right. Then if we could be back here again just to touch early to see if there's anything that's come up, and I'll see y'all at 8:55 tomorrow morning. Thank you. Thank you all. We're in recess.
All right. As they go to recess, we are going to say thank you to Joyful. Send a super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate that. Selena Carr says, choo choo. Thank you, Selena. Yes, this judge has been involved in some high-profile cases of recent political nature. Let's see. DSN, thank you very much for the super sticker as well. Thanks for being you. Appreciate that. Somebody says, what does it mean for you now when this happens? Karina, this only happens, it is per video. This is not a permanent effect on the channel. As a matter of fact, even if this happened on every video, it wouldn't affect the channel. So basically every video I start is a new opportunity where YouTube says, we're going to look at your video and see if it's something we want to sell advertisement to, which is basically if ads would appear on your video. And that's a big chunk of how the channel stays profitable, is because YouTube shows ads and they split some of that revenue with me with those. And if they deem it as not worthy of ads or ad limited, there are very few companies out there who say, hey, I'm trying to sell, I don't know, Deer Park water, and let's find a good video that we want to put our ad on. And they would look at this and YouTube would say, don't use that one. You're not going to like it. So there's no ads, but that's what happened. You guys are completely making up for it here. PJ, too much violence. So sad. This is terrible. And it's senseless. We can start a new stream. We can switch over for day 2. Which, if you give me just a minute, we'll get it set up to do that. No, I'm good. My wife went to the store and got water. Thank you very much, Thomas. I appreciate that. And Kiki does as well, because Kiki is currently drinking Deer Park water as well. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's YouTube saying that we're not going to push ads on this. They still show ads, which is frustrating, because there will still be ads, but there's just no revenue. And I don't know how they figured that part out. But thank you for your generosity, everybody. Give me just a minute. I'm going to, because we don't anticipate any more images like the ones we just used, like the ones we just saw. Give me just a second here. Oh, I might have a prank call. Guys, hang on. Hello? Hello?
Are you there?
Hello?
Hi, this is Sarah. I'm calling because the updated plan for Medicare has been released, and it may give you some better access to things like dental, vision, hearing, and over-the-counter benefits. Now, I believe you do have Medicare Part A and B, correct?
Sarah, I need to talk to a person. I have questions. Sarah, can I talk to your manager? Sarah Bot's confused. I hung up on her. Okay. Let's see. We're going to be in part 3, and I will make a portal so we can open up the door and just zoom right on over. We're going to start in 2 minutes. That works. Let me just update the latest thumbnail. Download. Done. Live stream. Edit. Not sure if I got the latest one, but it's an updated one. So we'll save that there. Pin this message. Okay. So now we go back to our current live. All right, we're going to portal over to the new one and say YouTube. This is our response to YouTube not liking our previous video. Buckle up. Hold on to your seats. We're not going to be gone long. About a minute is all. And we'll move over and start day 2 of this trial, which, let's see. I think I got it right here. Let me make sure I've got it right. There you go. I think this is it. I think we're good. All right. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again in about 30 seconds. Oops. I just ruined my picture. I'll fix that later. All right. We're portaling over, which means don't have to do anything, hopefully. But if for some reason it doesn't work, oh, I forgot to build the portal. That would have been bad. That would have been really bad. Redirect to there. Now it's set up. A lot of you have already made the jump. So we'll see you on the other side. You guys be good. Buckle up. Free ride right here. All right, see you in a minute.